So you have a change of heart, wanna make a brand new start. You've been living on the edge with forever as a pledge. No more giving it up, turning me loose, setting us free. Baby, keeping it real, cause we got what takes for sure. There's no turning back anymore. Can you see it's all a game? Life goes on all the same. If at first you don't succeed, all you've got is all you need. If you believe, then stake your claim.
Hello, 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 Rise and Thrivers, the Rise and Thrive Tribe. Welcome to the first Monday of May. May the 4th be with you. So, before we start this amazing new theme, new topic, an extraordinary month here on Rise and Thrive Together, as always, we will start sharing about who we are. And Rise and Thrive Together is a vibrant community committed to educating and empowering and equipping you to get the results that you want through real talk, taking real actions right now so you can have the results you want. So, welcome to Monday, May 4th. It is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And in case you don't know who I am or who this other beautiful woman next to me is, that is Raquel Stewart. And I am Regina Rossi Lamoth. And we're excited to be here. We're your host for the evening and host for Excited to Say 156 weeks straight. That's right, sis. Here we are, 156 weeks straight on episode 157. So good to see you. How are you?
Awesome. I'm good.
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 I love the hair. Super cute.
Thanks. I'm trying new styles with my hair.
Super love
It's a
it. Love it. Love it.
process. It's a process.
Well, here we are in our fifth month. I mean, here it is, the fifth month of 2026. It is exciting to say that we will share with everybody right away. Just going to share it because it's pretty exciting to say when you're 157 weeks in a row. It is the May month of our 3. Rise and Thrive Together turns 3. And I love and love and love this flyer that you made. It's super fun. And I'm so excited to be here celebrating with you. Can you believe it? 3 years
I
like that.
know. What date was it that we started? Do you remember?
I'd have to take a moment to look it up, so along the way I will. But I want to say it's officially next week. Next week, I think 11th. So I want to say around May 15th. And if anybody goes on to www.riseandthrivetogether.com, you'll see our original promo, and it should have like the first date, right, that it was there. But I just figured, why not? I mean, just like birthdays, no matter when your birthday is in the month, I'm like, celebrate. It's your birthday month. And this is our 3-year birthday, anniversary, however you want to say it. So super, like, I don't know about you. I've just been blessed to know you for a really long time. And in a million years, when we said, hey, we're going to do this thing together, I was super excited. And 3 years later, here we are.
I
Here we
know.
are. It's awesome. Genevieve's given us already the love. She says we both look so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Genevieve. So here we are, and let's just jump into it because there is a lot to get into this month. Excited to say that we have this other extraordinary graphic that Raquel created, and it is flowing right from last month. So it's beyond the ask. It's own your decisions. I love this because we both, chose this year that we're not going to just rush through a month. It really is going to flow into deeper conversations. And so here we are, episode 157, Beyond Your Ask, Own Your Decisions. And I even threw in there your power, because when you own everything, you've got your power. Well, my theory, you have your power. Like, I know who I am. I know what I got to say. I know who I'm going to keep at a bay. Oh, I'm like it's cat in a hat today. And I just love it. So we've gotten into many, many different conversations, and we've got that asking part, and we're really just really going to get into this own your decisions around beyond the ask. So I love it, sis. Thanks for creating everything. It's beautiful. And we got even another big congratulations right here. Congratulations, you have touched and transformed so many lives, including mine. Thank you from the Vision Movement. So I don't know if this is
Oh,
Johnny Vision, and if it is, thanks, Johnny. And if it
thanks,
isn't,
Johnny.
because I'm not used to like all new people getting new handles. Share who you are. But yes, if it is, we love you. You have changed our lives as we have changed yours, and that we're really out to like make a difference in other people's lives. That's the whole point, the big ripple effect.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So let's jump right into this. This has been really a lot of fun about the asking, and now you're talking about owning your decisions. You know, tell me what your thoughts are around this, beyond the ask and own your decisions.
That depends on if you asked what you were supposed to. I'm sorry. I'm there today. This is the second time I think I've talked to a live person, other than myself. And so, if you chose not to ask whatever question to whomever you wanted to ask it, you kind of got to live with that decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there was something that held you back, and whatever that is, guess what? If you don't overcome that thing that's holding you back, it always will. And
Yes.
you'll always live your life the way you're living it because you're letting something or someone prevent you from asking. And when I say something, it's stories that we make up in our head. It is something somebody told you that don't ask, because if you ask it, you won't get it or whatever.
Yeah.
But you have to still own that decision because that is a decision, right? Not to ask. And for those of us that did ask, you have to own that decision that, hey, yeah, I asked and I got what I wanted or I didn't. And what's the next step? So,
I love that because Susan just jumped right in. Welcome, Susan, our 3-year Rise and Thriver together for our community. She said what it means to her is that you own whatever the results are and how it affects others around you. I think perfectly said. So, whatever those results are, is if you did not ask anyone anything, then the results are zero. And the most, I would say, most of your impact is going to be right there at yourself. Because you want something, you want some result, you need some support, you need some help, whatever that may be, and something stopped you. And so that
mhm,
result is, I would say, because I've been there way back in the day, that mind, which then is like, just upset, frustrated, blah, 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 blame out there, like Raquel says, all that kind of low negative stuff. So, yep, Susan, own it. Now, again, maybe you had that big ask or you did that ask, and I'm really curious. People who are out there and are watching, have you, since we've started this conversation, which has been March, April, May, now we're into May here, May 4th, have you asked for something that you desired, wanted, whatever that may be? And if so, what was the result? And is there something new you found out based on, like, watching the show, whatever you get out of being in the community? And if not, that's okay too. But we'd love to just know, what was that ask? How was it like for you? And then what were the results of it? A lot that I'm asking of you, but this is not just Raquel and I, because we can talk about this all day long. Um, I don't think there's a day that goes by that I have not asked for something from someone. And it always starts with myself first because we're up to really big things in our life. Really, really big things. So curious if anybody has that. We'll give you a little bit of time out there. But since, we've been in this conversation, we've gotten into like what's important to us, looking at the asks that we want, looking at who do we ask and who do we don't ask, creating those boundaries around that. And is there anything recently that you'd like to share inside of, these past few months of talking about this that you asked for? Here's the result. What was it like for you?
Hmm. I want to say this before I answer that question, and
Sure.
that'll give me time to think. Asking is only half of the work.
Yeah, well,
That's half. You did half the work. The other half is something else, right? And that's taking ownership for whatever that is. I'm pretty sure I've asked in the last day or two. Can I remember specifics? No, because I ask and we go on. Oh, yes, I do remember one. I asked someone to be a speaker at our meeting, and the person said, "Sure, I'd love to," and that was great, right? And then we start planning it out. And that's the other part of it. I took ownership. Since I'm the one that's asking, I have to now ask again, what's most convenient for you? Is it in person? Is it on Zoom? Because that'll help me plan how we get them invited in, how the information gets disseminated to our community. Because I don't know how aware you are, and I typically don't bring politics into this space. However, there was a big decision made last week, and I'm going to bring politics in as far as that piece goes. Is the big decision that Supreme Court made regarding Voting Rights Act. If you are not aware of what it is, do some research. My ask is, can you please do some research on what the Supreme Court took a ruling on? Now, my ask was for our community, to let your voice be heard.
mm,
This is not the time to sit silent or just complain. We're past the complaining stage. Complaining doesn't get you anything. If it did, I got some stuff that I could complain about, and I hope complaining just takes it away. Poof, into the air. But now is the time what I'm asking, and I'm asking everyone out there because it doesn't just impact one set of people. Let's
right.
not be that close minded, right? Let's have the full conversation. And my ask is that you get out there and have your voice be heard. And a couple of ways to have your voice be heard is one, vote.
Boom.
Two, hold your elected officials accountable. That is your mayor, your legislators, your senators. Hold them accountable to what they said when they were running and hold them to that. You send letters to them, emails, phone calls. However, I don't care if you got to send a pigeon.
Love
I
it.
don't really care how you get that message there or that ask. But that's my big ask to everyone out there, is to have your voice be heard. Let's be angry, but let your voice be heard in a way that it comes across, one, where it's clear and it makes sense and it makes an impact. So that's my big ask. That was my ask that I asked someone else. So remember, asking is half the work. The other half is for you to take ownership.
Love it. I love it. That's a conversation that I often have, within my home and then outside in our communities. Listen, at the end of the day, there are going to be things that bother us and we need a place to vent that out, right? But when it becomes that complaint, that one that just kind of just gnaws at you over and over and over and over and over again, be very clear when you're speaking to other people. They're going to notice that, someone like me, and it's just like, okay, got it, and what can we do, right? And Raquel just came up with something really great, so I put on there, Susan's ready, your ask is received. I knew Susan was going to love
Thank
what
you,
you said.
Susan. I don't ask for a lot, but when I ask, I do ask.
And it really is that great. I'm very involved with my local representative, just local, right, in my community. There's right there for us, got involved, believe in those values and those things. So when things come up, she gets to bring them up to the bigger part of Florida and represents, right? And that's really such a big shift in the 3 years that been on the show. And we can kind of go back from 3 years ago. That was one of the conversations that came in, like, hey, I know I'm complaining a lot, I don't know what to do, there's so much happening in our community, blah blah blah, and in Florida. And I just went to an event, and there it was. Like, it was at asking. I was speaking, I think, to you, Raquel. I was speaking to my husband. It was like, I want to do something. And it was like, yeah, we need to know. And why I say that is, it goes like this. Susan said this for her, because she, asked the question. She goes, I asked myself what I wanted, and then I sent the ask to the universe. She said, I want business 2 days ago, right? She has a business. She's up to big things, people leaving their legacies, dealing with grief, and being able to, really make that impact the way they want their life. And then she goes, I received 2 inquiries about my services. So she asked herself what she wanted, right? She then sent it up to, she says the universe, and asked for that business. Now, the thing she's missing on some steps, like Raquel says, is those actions, because she's made posts on Facebook and, other things. She's spoken to other people. And then, boom, she received 2 inquiries about her services. Because I want to be like very clear, it's not like magic. She asked and then she let it go. People get into that, right? I'm not, and I am a spiritual guru kind of girl, but there is like these concrete actions we take, right? We first get connected to ourselves, prayer for me, get that God, has got it. And I'm on Facebook, I'm speaking to people, I'm in communities, and I'm literally, like Raquel's saying, asking and, being responsible and owning for what I want, right?
That's
No matter what that, like, I'm owning that. I'm not just blah, blah, blah words, right? And then of course, business comes up, right? Because you're not just like quietly asking to yourself, putting it out there. So I kind of just want to say that one. Genevieve's got something big. We're talking about celebrating, guys. This is huge because I've been part of her life for a long time. She asked to have a person removed from her home. It took 10 months.
mm,
Talk about being patient and giving props to what we speak about often here. Everything's in God's time, not necessarily mine.
mhm.
Ooh, and I got chills because I'm deeply, deeply close to Genevieve. We talk daily. We see each other almost every week and know that whole thing from inside and out. Talk about an ask in every way, shape, or form, from spiritual to in person to every service to everything, and breathing. 10 months. And her journey was bigger than just the ask. She owned that ask. She owned that one. She was responsible for it and took all actions, which didn't always seem like they came out in her way. But 10 months later, she received deep patience and got everything she needed, all in God's time. So love it.
Here's the thing about the ask, Genevieve. That is absolutely amazing. And what's to be commended, and I don't know if you see it this way or not, but I need to share,
Yeah.
is one, your patience. Two, you didn't expect it to happen the next day. And three, the change that took place in you
Mm-hmm.
over the 10 months, the
Yeah.
understanding that you got that we are not kids. And when we ask for something, we can't expect it right there and then. It is not instant. You add water, shake, pour.
Oof.
It's taking time. But in that space of time that you were afforded, there's a change that took place in you. And it was because of your patience. That's going to lead you to the next time you ask for something, that you understand it's going to take patience. And it's in that space of patience and waiting that we grow. When you think of a caterpillar, caterpillar
Mm.
does not go into that cocoon or the chrysalis, and
Ooh.
next day they bust open and they're like, whoa, I'm a pretty butterfly. It takes patience and time. And we need to understand that, because you see the change that takes place in that caterpillar, there's a change that takes place in us as well. So I
Yes.
just need you to sit with whatever it is. You don't have to share it with us at all, but I want you to hear it and understand it and think of the butterfly going into that chrysalis and then emerging out after however long into this beautiful butterfly that's able to do something different than it did before it went in to that hibernation.
I love that you use that. I mean, this is again, Raquel and I don't like speak like we used to. So here we are. There is this extraordinary children's book. It's one of my daughter's favorite. It's in the car. And it is about this caterpillar, right? And it's got all its caterpillar friends. And he's like, "What are you doing? Where are you going? What are you going?" Because he sees all the butterflies flying and he wants to go from 0 to 100. And they all get into the chrysalis. Thank you for the big word because she had to memorize that for a test. And inside the chrysalis, everybody's just patient and quiet. And this little caterpillar in it is like, "When are we going? When are we getting out? What time?" Like it's constantly like struggling and rushing and struggling and struggling. And at first, all the other caterpillars are like, "Be quiet." And after a while, they all just stop because they knew like it's that patience. And that one struggled and struggled and struggled and had to deal with its own voices and had to deal with all of what it had to deal with. And then all of a sudden, you know, emerged. And it was a process and didn't realize how long the process was. So it's so great that you use that, sis, because it's such an extraordinary book. And I love that. It's such a I'm visual, right? So I got to see that whole process.
And
Susan,
and
congratulations.
Genevieve, let me say one more thing to Genevieve, please.
Please,
And
yes.
and Genevieve, the important part, another important part that I want you to know is what you do next.
Mhm.
Now that that person is no longer in the house, what are you going to do next? Because some people freeze at the, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
And I can do anything. Let's not be so vague.
Hmm.
Let's start to get really specific. You wanted them out, you got them out. Now what?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Go with
No,
Susan.
no, don't ever apologize. Because that's the whole thing too, what we're talking about, which is this, you have this ask. It's not just like airy fairy, we're adults now. There is a very specific intention or reason what your ask is. And I really just heard from you about having that plan. There's a plan. If you had a specific thing that you asked for and there's a plan around that, and this person to be speaking for you and everything else. We have that when we have this on our show. you know there's really never, it can be so simple, but like there is a whole bunch of layers with that. So it's as simple as if I wanted to ask Raquel for $10. There's a reason behind that $10. There's a why behind that $10. And what am I going to use that $10 for? Right. And that's where I have to own that, and whatever that may be. And if she says yes, that's great. But it's not like I just had the $10 and everything's done. It's now I have the $10, and then am I using it for what really matters and what I said I wanted to use it for? Because that's owning your, I like to use choices, owning your decisions. Because how many times do we ask for something, we receive that, and then we sort of take a detour. And it's not exactly from what you said you needed it for. And not right or wrong, just curious, because in my personal experience, when I was intentionally asking for something and then I chose to go this way, not because everybody involved was, because I was just like kind of taking that shortcut, sort of like, really behind the scenes is, I don't need to do it this way. I'm going to do it that way, do it my own way. Um, there tends to be a lot of other obstacles and drama in the way. So just want to put that out there for people too, that, take a breath, be really intentional about your ask, the purpose around that, the actions you're going to take afterward, being responsible for what you asked for and own that. Because We can get deep into that, but I just want to share that, and I think most people don't understand that. Genevieve is like sending these funny faces, going, "Well, I wasn't happy being patient," and you know what?
None of us are.
Yeah, I was just like, I was like,
There's
I can,
that
yeah,
kid inside of us that's like, I want it and I want it now. Right? But then we also know that doesn't always happen.
yeah. But that I think you use that as um, a great example because that is when I talk about the young conversations we have, or how old are we inside of the way we ask for things, respond to things, react to things. And I've shared with many of you, that my conversations are around my daughter's age, sometimes younger, sometimes I'm a grown up and I get to like in my 20s, and then really growing adult. But we don't realize that. We really, really don't. When it's that impatient part of that impatient of now and why and we're not saying that isn't normal, right? But that but taking that moment and realizing, is that changing anything? It's like spinning the wheels in the mud over and over and over again, and so
Mhm.
much energy is being like used, and like not preserving that energy. You're shot down, and not just for that ask, but for everything else that happens, and it takes you out. It really takes you out. So that's why we call it Rise and Thrive Together, and we're a community, because it is, when in our own devices, can tend to be a little bit more um, energy used than when you have one other person that you can bounce ideas with and share and asks and provide support. And I'll just use really quickly is, I needed something from Raquel for somebody that was going through something difficult in an area where she lives. And I asked her, does she know anyone? And she took a couple of days, and she did. And she came back with those two people, and I spoke to those two people, and those two people gave other people that got to that person in her area. And it took a while, right? It took a while. But like Genevieve, like you, inside that whole big thing, which is super, super hard, sounds like yours was as well. So much has shifted since then. But that was one ask. One ask that I knew she lived in, the area somewhere where Raquel lives. And I took a shot at Raquel, being involved with a whole bunch of things that maybe she knew somebody, and vice versa. We've had that happen the other way around. So that's why we say the first ask, once you're clear about it, is look at who in your group of people might be the most beneficial person to start with. And guess what? Nothing can really be wrong. I mean, go for it. But we're asking you to take a real good look at the people in your life and really just get to know them, and what are they? Everybody's great resources for a whole bunch of things. Doesn't mean that they're resources for all your things.
And once you've asked, you made a decision, please stop asking people for their approval
Oof.
or for them to confirm any of that stuff.
Mm.
You made the decision. If you are clear in your decision, you don't need to ask people, well, what do you think? Because they're going to tell you, and you ask five people can give you different what they think. And now, how clear are you in your decision?
Ugh.
See, when we've made a decision, we don't need to ask people and we stand firm in it. It is when you haven't made a decision, but you said, oh, I decided, but now, no, I don't know. Because if you decided, what is the but now? What's coming after now? So stand firm in it. That's the whole point of this month is, if you make a decision, people are like, what if it's the wrong one? It's a decision. It's not right or wrong, because that you're placing a judgment on it. It's a decision that you made. And either way, there's going to be a lesson based upon the decision that you made. How did you go into making this decision? Was it just you making it, and was it selfish, or was it selfless?
Mm.
So let's have real conversations. I know way too many people who ask. who's who have a conversation. They'll ask you a question, you give the answer, they make a decision, and then they double back on the decision.
Yep.
I'm like, then you really didn't make one because you want the right one, but you're asking everybody for their opinion. That's not going to help. That's going to be more confusing. And the decision at the end of the day has to be yours.
Yep. And that I think what I'm hearing from that is before my choice gets made is when I might be in the inquiry of again looking at the people who I really trust because I'm not clear about what my ask is, right? Or what my outcome is. So I might use one, two, maximum three people to say, hey, this is what's going on. I'm like struggling. I'm not really clear about this, but I know exactly who to do that with, one or two people. And once I get clarity, it's not like I'm asking them, like I'm helping them have me come out of the weeds. Then I'm clear and then I can go within. And that's when I'm like, okay, this is what I really want. This is what I really need. And here's the ask that I'm going to ask. And then, like you said, I own it and then it's out there. And then the outcome happens, right? Because what you were saying is when we're not clear and we get all those million different things, and then you pick one of them like magically out of a hat, and then it doesn't come. How many people have gotten backfired on and then get that phone call of, I'll take your advice and blah, 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 blah. And it was like, whoa, like, no. So,
But I have a question for you because
yeah.
you said after you ask the two or three people, then you go inside. Why couldn't you go inside initially?
Well, I do. And when I'm still not in, when I start with me and I'm still unclear and all of that, I utilize a certain community, a group of people that when I'm still clear and I'm sort of like muddled and I'm sort of like running on that, there's one or two people that I can like go to and say, like, this is what I'm dealing with. Can you hear like or listen to something that I'm like trying to say? Cause I'm just sort of like all over the place. And then I can like take that and then go back in and really just be like, yeah. Because sometimes I'm just like really just there and I'm not very clear, even if I write it down and I'm just kind of going through stuff. So it's like going to say, like, why you're going to a therapist or why you're going to have your teacher support you in an area that's just a little bit not too, that I need support in. But I always start with me first and then I get that support when I'm just still just sort of not there. And Susan is saying that many decisions are impulsive and reactive and have no thought out on it at all.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, only because that sounds very general and it
Well, I think
sounds
she was
like
going
it's
before what you were
for
saying.
most people.
Well, I think she was speaking, it came on when you were speaking about um, earlier what you were talking about. So she was saying those decisions tend to be impulsive or reactive with no thought.
Then I need you to be specific. I need clarity because that just sounds like a very general statement that most decisions are impulsive and some decisions, yes. So if you can just clarify that for me, Susan.
She's saying that some of us have, speaking, if we have some blind spots, it's good to have some trusted friends. So I'm
Okay,
using
got it.
from because she's one of my people in my life that I go to.
I
Um,
got it, Susan.
yeah, so that'll be that one. Yeah, and I definitely don't want those impulsive decisions, and I react from those. So that's awesome. Awesome. Well, we made some big choices this year, sis. This one is just half an hour's gone. Really great. And we wanted to share some of that with you guys because one of the things that is going on this month is, and it's all the time, but this month is Mental Health Awareness Month. There's many months, but this month is Mental Health Awareness Month, and it's about their theme is about having, that you're not alone and that you have people in your life. And Raquel and I have spoke about a lot of things. We have been here for 157 weeks in a row and are continuing to do that. But we made some choices for our summer, and we wanted you guys, as our listeners who are here first, to know about that. Sis, you want to share that with everybody?
Sure. So we're going to do like the talk shows. They take the summer off. Regina and I are going to have once a month starting in June. going through July and August, and we will see you in September. So every month, June, July, and August, we're going to have one live show, and then we're going to have the best of,
Yes.
because it is really, really important that we take care of our mental health, because we pour in to people and now we need to rest. Not that people don't pour into us. Let me just put that out there, but we need the rest. I know I need the rest. I'm going to get rest from this, not everything else that I'm involved in. And I'm okay because I've now learned how to really and truly put self care in. So, once again, from June, July, and August, we will have one live show, and then for the rest of each of those months, we will have the best of. Regina and I will pick the shows. If you guys have a favorite show, go into our Facebook group, private community, Rise and Thrive community,
Rise and thrive
and you
together
can
community. Yeah.
you can put in what show you really enjoyed. And if you don't remember the episode, doesn't matter. Tell us the topic and we will get that on there. And we will see you live back to our weekly shows in September.
Absolutely. And it's really great because we will be live every week this month. So, don't disappear on us in May. And the best part is if you're really unsure, what's so great about this is follow us on YouTube. Really, all of our shows, every single episode has not disappeared. They're all on our YouTube channel, Rise and Thrive Together. And it's very easy. You see the logo and you can just go through it literally from episode 1 all the way through, and just say, hey, I want that. But I think we're going to have a lot of fun picking the ones that kind of have been through these past 3 years. Nothing ever changes. We can literally start from the first episode and rehab that conversation again, and it's going to hit differently. Where you were 3 years ago, where you were 3 days ago, where you were 3 hours ago, and maybe where you were 3 minutes ago. Every time something's going to hit a little different. I'm excited because I'm going to go look at, we get this blessing of having these clips. So I'm like excited to go through the clips and kind of see what we talked about, and how it was. Thank you, Ellen. Ellen is saying congratulations to us and our 3 year
Thank you, Ellen.
anniversary and for sharing this show to help us rise and thrive. We appreciate
We'll let you know next week what day
it. Yep.
of June, July, and August that will be live. And we'll also be posting it. So you'll always be connected and know when you can jump on and chit chat with us. We want to leave you with one core message for this first conversation, and that is asking gives you clarity, ownership gives you direction.
Love that.
Until next time, stay grounded, stay curious, and keep choosing you. Take care.